Welcome back to another episode of the Nightcap presented by Bearcat Journal, brought to you as always by Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Be sure to check out their one and only location in Dayton, Kentucky, right across the river, and get yourself some of that Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. So we got a little surprise for you tonight. Obviously, Chad's not doing the read as I am. And we got Brent Young filling in for Chad Brendel tonight, as it is our boss, our friend, Chad's birthday. You only get one of those a year, so we thought we'd give him the night off.
Yeah, fearless leader, Chad Brendel. Happy birthday to you, as we said last night on the BBP, and you know what, we said, hey, it's your birthday, man. No nightcap for you. I will step in. A glorious Tuesday night, little BCJ little nightcap. I enjoy it. And by the way, Galactic Fried Chicken, I've never had it. I need to try it. It's an absolute must. I just haven't had the chance to get down there. So hey, you know what?
Oh, I forgot the part of the read. I did forget the part of the read where if you mention Pump It Up, save yourself 15% on your order. So
there we go. Pump it up, baby. Now, so the Galactic sauce, is it Cane's? Is it
No, it's a Chipotle honey mustard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
A little bit more like Chick-fil-A, a little sweeter. Oh, you get it by the bottle. I might need that by the bottle. I need to try it.
In any case, it is talking about Talkin tonight. I'm sure Chad is having his own nightcap anyway. So again, thank you for stepping in. But it was an interesting one today, as Twitter has been all abuzz with some of the clips that have been floating around. Started off with Coach Satterfield, and he really minced no words before getting right into Sammy Anderson out the rest of the season, and it was clarified it will be for medical reasons, not for disciplinary reasons. There was never a doubt in my mind. What did you think of leading off with that?
It was kind of the whole scenario where, obviously it was an elephant in the room each time that the defensive backfield got brought up. Something where you were saying, okay, when is Sammy going to come back? We heard he was the best defensive back, the best corner on the team, and he's been absent. He's obviously been out with injury, and then the tweet comes. So obviously it's a little bit of something that needs to happen. Once Sammy took fingers to X.com, he it had to be something that had to be addressed. But as always, hats off to the medical staff, getting it cleared, getting things figured out, and coming up with this decision and making it publicly known so that all issues, all talk, all little sidebar conversations can just come to an end now.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he did mention that when it got to the end of the season, it'd be Sammy's call whether he wanted to, essentially what he wanted to do at that point. Right. Obviously, assuming whether he wants to come back to Cincinnati or not.
Or just play football, or what's the next step at all for Sammy Anderson, and of course we don't want to read into that at all. We kind of just want to leave that comment as it is, and like Coach Sat said, at the end of the season we'll figure out what the next step is for Sammy and for everyone involved.
I think Satterfield did his best to essentially put the Sammy Anderson talk in pressers to bed, and it's pretty much where that lies.
Especially because the follow-up is this medical related or
right.
disciplinary, and immediately it was medical related, and then he gave the hat tip to Aaron Himmler and the whole medical staff for being on top of everything. So it was awesome. Good move all around.
Then he went on to say that they have to make plays, they can't look back, and they have to focus on what they can do today. Just a lot of coach speak there after the Sammy talk. Then it went on to the missed pass to D. Wiggins, the one that we've all talked about until we were blue in the face, wide open, should have been a touchdown.
Turning point, right?
So that he still insists that was the turning point, said that obviously they got a little deflated there. And then he went on to say, which he didn't really get too deep into as being a second turning point, but he kind of, obviously after watching the tape, he said that the drive where they gave up the fourth down, gave up the fake field goal, gave up the third down goal line stand to
Yep.
the hitting the quarterback in the head
Right.
and 15 yards, which essentially was half a yard or whatever at that point.
Yep.
But just said that the team was really deflated at that point. And I don't think he's talking about just the ones on the field. I think the staff was probably deflated. I think that the sideline was probably deflated. I don't know how you come back from that at that point. Even after the first pass that was missed wide open, you were still up 7-3 essentially. Like you came back and you were up, but it never really felt like you had the game in hand.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. He mentioned the fact that they constantly put the defense in bad positions, and how the the interception happened in that second series with Emery throwing the pick, and then of course he mentioned the defense standing up, holding them to a field goal. Then that's when the offense went down and scored, and so momentum wasn't really swinging either way. So like it was like wind was out of the sails after the missed pass to D Wiggins. And the wind was back in the sails after stopping them, to holding them to a field goal. Even more wind in the sails after scoring a touchdown. And then you have the opportunity yet again for another field goal. Have it 7-6. You still have the lead. And then you just constantly make these mistakes. He mentioned the word mistake probably 15 times. And, that is the thing. It was just mistakes. And that did lead to it. And he said eventually if you do too many mistakes, the other team's going to score a touchdown, and that's exactly what happened. I think the fact is also on top of it is that this team has obviously struggled to score points. And
sure,
when you talk about the one time that obviously the missed easy touchdown to D Wiggins overthrow, that's missed points. And then defensively, instead of holding them to another field goal, yet again you're letting them get into the end zone and score because of a lot of mistakes that you made or kind of self-inflicted wounds. So, of course, yet again, that is another hit against the score. And I can see why both of those can absolutely be deflating.
He went on to say that he is not considered making a quarterback change. Emery, he insists, gives him the best chance to win. Did touch on the fact that Lichtenberg and Drogosh are both back there, but just not really anybody that he's considering making a move for.
Yeah, and I'm sure you might bring it up, but something you mentioned was, later on in the presser was the fact that they are looking at, players on the roster and how they shake up with the 4 games and the redshirt scenarios, redshirt situations as well. So that might come into play a little bit with, Drogosh. I think, obviously a lot of different positions. Barry Jackson is the one that kind of sticks out to me that he was probably thinking about the most as Barry had the one game where he, went off against EKU a little bit with that long touchdown catch and run. But yeah, I like we said on the VVP, like you guys said on the nightcap after the game, coach is going to go with who he sees in practice that has the best opportunity to help the team win. And, momentum is real, especially even momentum carried from one season to the next. And if you just lose, and then you struggle and you do have other quarterbacks getting snaps, yes, cool. But if they're losing snaps and there's snaps where they struggled, there might not be much benefit in it. So if he feels like he can win with Emery, best chance to win, try and get some momentum, try and get the team back on the right path, then, you just got to trust him because they're the ones that see the tape. They're the ones that practice every single week. So kind of like what we've been hinting at and talking about on all the other platforms.
I did think it was interesting that he mentioned that they have, since last week, started going good on good in practice. Meaning ones versus the ones, twos versus the twos, instead of the ones versus a scout team, just kind of trying to intensify practice and make sure that the quarterback's having to go against the best people on the field to try and make the proper reads.
Right.
Did you take anything away from that?
Yeah, he mentioned depth a lot during the offseason, how, they just don't have the depth that they want at this level and at this point of, his early coaching tenure. And so you probably see that a little bit when you're going up against the scout team. And sure, scout team is really good when you want to get looks and you want to see the different formations that the defense is going to bring you of the opposing team. But yes, they're normally underclassmen, a lot of walk-ons, a lot of players that are kind of they're fighting for their role, but they're also learning a different team's defense or a different team's offense on the fly, and they're trying to give you the best look of what the opposing team is going to give you. And that's going to take a little bit away from them just playing naturally and really looking to give you their best effort, because they're going to focus on like, okay, well, what does Baylor do in this situation? So when you put the one-on-ones, you're constantly just having competition. You're constantly just having the ability to self-grow each other. And, obviously you're able to also see where one team has the ability to kind of self-scout the other, like offense self-scouts the defense, picks and chooses what they think that they need to work on and vice versa. So it's a smart idea, especially when you aren't really in the running for the college football playoff or even the Big 12 championship at this point, where you just want to improve and develop as a team overall.
He mentioned that he wanted to find ways to get the running game going, which in turn would also get the offense going. At this point, get anything going.
Yeah. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. They got to get anything going. And I thought he said a lot of Q run is what he kind of saw was working a lot, especially Emory Jones. We mentioned that last night on the BVP as well, just that Emory was running with a passion. And, you listen to Aranda's press conference this week for Baylor, and he was mentioning how he saw a lot of Q runs as well. And so I think that's probably something that'll continue to increase, to just try and gain positive yardage and potentially break a big one. So, yeah, to figure out how to figure out the run, absolutely anyway.
One of the things that we've talked about kind of all season, and was iterated here in the conference as well, is just that this team is looking and trying to find vocal leaders. We've talked about how the transfers may struggle to find that voice in a locker room that is a bunch of guys that they haven't necessarily played with. You also have, Ryan talked about last night how you have kind of two factions of a team. You have the old regime versus all the new guys that are here. I don't know. Teams looking for leaders. And we'll see who emerges, as Coach Satterfield is also looking to find some of those vocal leaders.
Yeah, he wants someone to step up and make some plays. And, plays don't all have to be on the field. Someone that can make some plays in the locker room, someone that can, really step up and try and bond everyone and kind of, push everyone towards the right direction. And, like he also pointed out, and I'm sure you will probably bring it up, what builds confidence and it's not necessarily just winning a football game. It's, winning the next play, getting the next first down, hitting a big play, just doing small things that add up. And, he says snowball effect in a negative way is what happened against Iowa State. Now he's saying snowball effect in a positive way could really get the ball rolling and start to get some confidence back in the team. And then that'll build leaders as well. But yeah, it's hard in this, era of college football, because you do have so many different cultures meshing, and then you add in the coaching staff that's new, and also the pieces on the coaching staff that might not be exactly from the same regime. And it's a lot of moving parts, but you hope at this point of the season, those parts start to figure each other out, because, every single team is facing somewhat the same transfer adversity or coaching adversity, this, that, and the other. So at this point, hopefully things start to flow in the right direction.
We'll get to adversity here in a little bit, but he also said he wanted, and you've kind of alluded to this already, wanted to see what some of the young guys can do, especially towards the end of the season. Again, Barry Jackson does come to mind. I think he actually mentioned him by name. Also, the quarterback situation with Drogosh having already played against EKU. You're only looking at 3 games, not wanting to burn a red shirt. I know people don't, because of the transfer portal era, a lot of people don't necessarily care about the red shirt, but you still have to worry about the fact that if you misuse a player who's kind of banking on that red shirt at this point in the season, that's not going to be good for your future.
Yeah, I mean, you see other teams across the country where, they kind of hit that close threshold, like Michigan State when they made the coaching change this year. There were a lot of players that were like, okay, I've only played 3 games, so I should, if I want to transfer, I should probably do it now so I can retain a year. I mean, the same can be said for a freshman that is looking to redshirt and continue development. So, yeah, I think you got to be kind of strategic when it comes to that, and kind of throw him out there at the right time. He mentioned Lichty came in with like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. There's that. That's not enough time to really get a flow,
No.
really get anything going. But he wants to see some sort of a production from anyone. I think he's kind of like us. Anyone step up and make a big play. And Barry Jackson's one touch against EKU that's making a big play.
Sure.
But of course, everyone did that against EKU, so I don't think we can really put a barometer to that. But yeah, anyone who can step up, got to be strategic though, because it's college football is strange these days with just all the other outside factors that kind of add up to it.
He said that the difference between Cincinnati and other Big 12 teams is execution at a high level.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was in reference to like changing up the scheme to adhere to the Big 12. I mean, I agree. If you execute at a high level, no matter what level you're playing at, you're gonna have success. And obviously, the Bearcats aren't doing that right now. But you know what? If they can, who knows? Maybe the results do change.
And as we talk about the Big 12, Baylor is looking to come in and right the ship.
Yeah, it's funny. You go over to Baylor's site, you listen to any Baylor clips or podcasts or even Dave Aranda's presser this week, and it's a lot of the same vibes that Cincinnati has. A lot of people in Baylor are wondering, where's the energy at? Are there going to be some changes on the coaching staff? What players are going to step up and make a play? And is the offensive scheme going to change? Different things like that. So, yeah, I mean, Baylor's a team looking for answers themselves, and they had a bye week, and mainly Dave Aranda said that the number one thing it did was they're the healthiest they've been all season. So for him, it was kind of health and self-scouting were the main things that he touched on. But yeah, they're a team in desperate need of righting the ship, no doubt.
So is Cincinnati.
Yeah.
The quick notes I have on Shaman, he mentioned that he felt that they all have to be better, himself included. He said that he needed to look in the mirror, as did the team. He said that he needs to be better in the run game despite his recent success. Thought that a win could boost confidence all around and challenge himself to be a leader. And he did also mention at the end that he wants to be the next tight end out of tight end U.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. He mentioned Josh Wiley and Kobe Bryant and kind of how, this team doesn't really, it lacks a player like that, just a vocal leader, someone that can really rally the troops, if you will. And, the fact that he's talking more and more mature each press conference, each interview that he has, he's getting comfortable in his role. And that's just the sign of a budding star, a true guy that's going to really take that next step. And the next step for him is getting the blocking down, is being that true, two-way tight end so that he can be used at all times and is a threat to, line up and block or line up and go out for a pass. So, I think he's a bright young dude and a dude for sure. Someone that I think they're going to continue to get the ball to because he makes plays happen. And as Satterfield mentioned, he wants playmakers, wants people that can go out and make plays. Yeah. And Shaman has been that dude. Absolutely.
No matter where you line him up.
Yeah, he said left. My first time at left tackle was this past Saturday, and it ended up in a touchdown. So how about that? Put him out there more.
And then to cap it off was Dante Corleone, and he mentioned that they have the talent to win, but they need to execute. It's becoming a broken record from almost anybody who's at a podium at this point. Right. Also said the defensive line knows they need to be better, and they are taking that challenge head on. He says he tries to be vocal on the sidelines and telling everybody just to focus on the next play. Said the team needs to figure out how to face adversity, and once they do, that's when they'll be successful. Right. And then obviously at the end, you had maybe the
it was an emotion. Let's separate.
All right, we'll separate that. Okay,
because that was awesome. It's absolutely awesome. But yeah, so his initial words. Yeah, I found myself like starting to feel like a little bad for the defensive line. You know what I mean? Like sure, like we all expected this Brian Brown defense to be, all gung ho, heavy pressure all the time. Kind of just, balls to the wall, if you will. Just getting sacks, forcing interceptions, forcing fumbles, havoc. But for the most part, the defensive line has been pretty good. individually, Dante and Jawan and Eric Phillips and Malik Van and the list goes on and on. They all have within themselves had good games throughout the year. They've consistently been good, but it's just kind of just everything else that is kind of mixed up and putting them in bad field position, bad things that go their way one way or the other. It just maybe just being one step away from getting that sack on a QB pressure. It just so many things have really just worked but not worked, if you get what I'm saying. So the fact for him to take ownership and still say that he needs to be the leader, D-line still needs to step up. I mean, that just talks to the type of dude he is, obviously, as well. And I think he's going to take the next step too, because he's talking about chip on the shoulder again, talking about backs up against the wall again. And Dante, when he does that, he kicks it up another notch. So I'm excited to see what he comes out and does. What was the other thing you were mentioning? So
the team needs to figure out how to face adversity.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing. So when the team faces adversity the last few seasons, Desmond Ridder was there to bail them out. I mean, NFL players were there to bail the team out. Even this past year, sure they had a couple losses that weren't great, but when adversity did strike, I mean, Ben Bryant had been in the system for a while. That they had wide receivers that were talented. Chuck McClellan was constantly in the system for a long time. And then they had Luke Fickell, who everyone knew how to listen to. Everyone knew how he was going to coach. So adversity was handled throughout the entire culture that was built. So, yes, adversity is striking big time right now. And I think they are trying to just figure out how to handle it. And I agree. Once they do and they get things right and they do pick up a win. And I think, yes, winning the next play, winning the next series is important, but I think it's a win. Get another win under the belt, then you start to get that true momentum going. But I agree. Handling adversity is the pinnacle. And this team has not quite done that yet. On Saturday, they definitely could against Baylor.
Yeah, for a lot of these guys, they've never lost nearly this much
ever. Right,
ever.
Exactly, ever.
So that is a challenge to face. And then Dante kind of capped it off with asking to say something, and if you were looking to have your heartstrings pulled, he certainly tried to do that. Just saying that he basically doesn't want the fans to give up on them yet and wants them to continue to believe. And this is me paraphrasing. He didn't use those words exactly, but just wants people to keep showing up and make sure that they're still out there rooting for these Bearcats.
He said, we need you, go Bearcats. I mean, that's hometown hero, dude that stayed, top-rated defensive player, according to PFF.
Could have probably gone anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he could be the anchor of the Wisconsin defensive line. He could have joined, Jaheim down in Arkansas and been Woo Pig suing his way to first-team SEC, all conference. But he was the dude that said, no, I'm going to stay here. And he's worn his heart on his sleeve the whole time, worn Cincinnati on his sleeve, worn it on his chest. And so that's a dude coming out. You also heard it. Luke, I thought Luke Kandra did really well after his presser too, after the game, saying, fans, we still need you here. We're going to get this figured out. Trust in us, this, that, and the other. And Dante isn't the loudest dude, but when the Godfather speaks, you're going to listen. And I tell you what, you come here the day of a Tuesday night press conference and tell me you're not going to come to the game against Baylor. No. After Dante said they need us, hopefully a lot of people heard that and they're going to be out there supporting him.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up talking about Talkin on this Tuesday. Again, thank you, Brent, for filling in.
Aaron, that was fun.
It was. We should do it again.
Aaron, it was a birthday surprise for Chad. Thanks for having me on. This is a blast.
You got it. But as always, this show was brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken and BearcatJournal.com.